Hey there, for this video I've made some little XPS foam mattresses. Quite a long time ago I made a diorama and it had a little foam mattress on it. It was quite a lot smaller than these ones, but when I made it I was just so happy with how well it turned out and how easy it was to make, and I intended on making a video on doing the little mattress a long time ago, so here it is. But the reason I want to do this is especially because I'd like people to be able to see the versatility of XPS foam and to understand it as a sculpting medium. It is incredible to use when you really start thinking about what you can actually do with it on every scale that you could imagine. So it's a wonderful thing, and I hope you get something out of this, and I hope you enjoy the video. I'm using some really nice dense XPS foam for this. Roughly cut to the size and thickness that I would like the mattress to be. I guesstimated it, and I'm just going to very roughly cut the corners off because I'm going to sand the edges into a nice curve. That'll do, it's close enough. I'm just going to use a bit of sandpaper to very, very lightly sand it. You want a fine grit sandpaper so you don't go tearing into your foam. And once the corners are rounded down, you just want to give it a nice gentle sanding because you want it to be porous to soak up some stain. I use a circular motion when I sand XPS foam because if you do a back and forth motion, you're going to end up with lines in it. Just the tiny bits of sand on the sandpaper will make lines. So yeah, I'm going to draw some lines now very, very lightly into the foam to make that ridge that goes around the top and the bottom of the mattress. I just do all the lines on the tops and the sides, and then I'll meet the corners up by freehanding it. You want to do this very, very lightly. It's barely touching the foam, just so it can make a very fine impression so I can go over it again, because once you've made a mark it's going to stay there, so you want to do it very, very lightly. And around the sides, same as the top. And then you just meet the corners up with your straight lines. And once you've done this, you can do it a little heavier. I used a second pencil, one that was not quite as sharp, because a sharp pencil will act as a cutting tool, not just for marking. And if you press hard, you're going to slice through the foam. So a slightly blunt pencil is really good for the second go around, so you can really get that impression in there. And yeah, it's like sculpting it once you've marked it. And I'll do that on the bottom so it looks like a mattress. And this, I've used a domino. I just traced it online by putting a dot in the center of each one so I could actually get it correct. As you can see, this is a piece of paper. I held it up against the computer and I marked the domino dots, and then I used that as a little template because I couldn't freehand or eyeball those. I knew they were going to be wrong. I attempted it on a bit of paper and I couldn't do it, so tracing is the way to go. And then I used a pen. The nib is inside this. I'm just using that circle that's at the bottom of the pen, and I pressed down on the center of each dot that I had made on the domino tracing. You can press relatively hard. That piece of paper acts as a buffer, and as you can see, the paper has also made impressions, so it looks like that pulling tightness of the button against the fabric on the mattress, which was very surprising to me. I was very pleased when I saw that this is what had happened. And then I just used the pen again on its own just to redefine the shape of the button. Just quite tidy. Just be gentle with the foam. You can be somewhat firm, but you've got to be gentle. It takes time to learn how to play around with foam if you're not used to it. Practice pieces are always very good. And as you can see, it looks quite a lot like a mattress. I made two, and I'm going to put a nice curve in one of these. I'll drop a link for a video on bending XPS foam. I just wanted to give it some interest, and you can see it's still a little bit flexible because it's still got a bit of water in it. The hot water gets inside it and makes it soft and flexible on the inside. I've made some creases, and my little impressions have come away a bit from the hot water, but that's okay. I will redefine them. It's not a problem. That bit of paper's starting to get a bit worn though. I probably could have used a new one, but I'm too lazy for that, so I did this very carefully for the last time. Ta-da! Very easy. I'm just going to use a toothpick to add even more definition to those little pulling effects on around the button. Be quite light with this because it's marking very easily with the sharpness of that toothpick. You could use a pencil for this too. And that's ready for a bath in a brown wash. I'm just going to drop it in there. It's an acrylic one, of course. It's a bit of brown and black paint, water. It's a sludge. Give them a brief soak, and that's them ready to paint after I give them a very thorough drying. And pull them out and realise you've made yourself some lovely Tim Tams or what looks like an ice cream sandwich. Look at that, yummy. Oh, it does look delicious. Don't worry about the paint looking thick like that. That will dry beautifully and flat and a lot less obvious than that. You can see all the impressions have come back out because it is foam and it's still absorbent. I mean, you could coat it if you wanted to with some Mod Podge. It's up to you. I'm just going to use some acrylic paints and some paint pens. Give this one kind of a standard institutional blue. It's just it's a soft sort of blue. You could put up an image of a mattress online and take a look at the kinds of colours they use. It might be an idea as well, instead of just using me as a guide. I'm very lightly giving it a brush. This is, as far as dry brushing goes, this is very, very heavy. I'm barely applying any, but it looks like quite a lot. But I don't want to lose all my impressions. And I will redefine these later with a pencil if I accidentally do fill in the gaps or the paint covers the darkness of the lines that I want to keep there. And this one is just a grey. It actually came out looking quite blue, even next to the one that was blue. So there must be definitely some blue in this. I didn't do anything but use it straight out of the tube. But yeah, they came out very much like standard old school sort of mattresses. The sort that, you might want to use in a diorama for, a creepy old hospital or an asylum or something like that. Now some stain back into the little grooves that I previously made. I did this 2 or 3 times because it comes out so lightly once it dries. You just kind of want to build it up, and it gets heavier towards the centre each time that you do it, so it's darkening and giving depth in the deeper recesses. Use your finger to move it around if it's too heavy on the outside. I put little impressions in those buttons. I was playing around with it. I probably shouldn't have done it. It doesn't have quite the right effect, but a paint pen will disguise that anyway. They look a little too clunky. The paint pen going around the edge is nice and easy. I love these pens. They're fantastic for working on foam because you can just draw anything you like and they're so tidy. Hold your breath and round you go. And now just in the centre of each button. This is a cream colour. It looks white under the camera, but it's definitely a cream colour. I avoid using white and black for just about everything because they are such unnatural stark colours when it comes to making miniatures. Very fine lines across this. My pen has been nibbed down in a container, so it was awkward. I couldn't film all of it. It was very runny. So store them with the base down and the top facing up. Very simple basic lines. Looks good. Ready for a bit more of a dry brushing this time. This is very, very light as well. You can see the brush strokes there because my brush, I dried it, but obviously there was a small amount of moisture in there, and that's why I had that happen. Not that it was a problem. Around the sides. It just softens it. It gives a bit more definition because it almost looks sort of very cartoonish, this one. I'm not sure why, but I don't mind it. I noticed after I'd done it that there was no center button, so I created one. I just very gently used the pen, pushed it in, stained it, and dropped the pen on top to make the button with the cream colour. It was no big deal. This one I did the same, and I accidentally popped a hole in it that was awful, so I put filler in it, and then I dropped stain all over it, so that fixed that. Bit more stain. I did this about 3 times as well, just sort of, I drop it on and let it dry and soak in, and then I start building from the centre. It looks nice and it's dry. It looks very much like something has leaked into the mattress. But I like it, it's good. You could coat these with a very flat lacquer when you're done if you wanted to, take any shine off them and protect them. That's the mattresses done. It seems like a bit of an obscure thing to make, but I think they're fantastic for playing around with foam. They'd be great for all sorts of furniture. So, you could make little cushions or whatever you like when you really think about what you want to do with it. So I do hope you got something out of this. And I hope you enjoyed the video, and I do hope to see you next time.